And welcome back to Lantern Courts videos. And this one comes to us from, who gave me this one? Quite, or it's either Kuwait or Quite. Lang? Who asked the question, what Lantern Corp does Seto Kaiba? So the man who says, screw the rules, I have money. What Lantern Corp does he belong into? And this is actually an interesting question. I watched all the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series and GX. I fell off Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of an anime, because I stopped playing the card game around GX time, going into Synchro and 5Ds. I stopped watching right around 5Ds, though I've seen a chunk of 5Ds. And I've even seen a little bit of, the one after that, Zexal. I've seen a little bit of Zexal. Haven't watched, what's the one with the pendulum monsters called again? Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V. That was it, Arc V. Or I believe something like that. It was something Arc V. And then it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Not Lynx, because Lynx was the new gimmick there. I can't remember. But basically, I haven't watched really anything past a little bit of Zexal. But no, I watched all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like a lot of kids. I was a huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! I still have a bunch of my old cards. I've actually had a lot of my original deck and all that was stolen a long time ago, and trust me, it was bad. I was doing really well in like the local tournament at the game shots too for a while, but no, it really upset me. But either way, I've learned my lesson since then. I remade decks and what. Anyway, I digress. So the question is, so I've had a long time to really watch, and a good picture, I think, of Seto Kaiba, by the way, watch and get to know Seto Kaiba's character. And I came down to the conclusion that there are 4 solid candidates. Now, as always, let's talk about a couple of the ones I don't believe he would qualify for. Seto Kaiba's never technically died, so we couldn't really count him as a Black Lantern. You can make an argument, yeah, they died in the movie, right? Nah, he didn't actually die because they were brought back. It was like they were sent again to another dimension. The Shadow, yes, in the Japanese version of the show and the manga, they can die. But it's more that not exactly still, because you can still bring these characters back. Like Mai, for all intent and purposes, should have been dead, but she didn't die. America trapped her in the Shadow Realm, blah, blah, blah. And even if she had died, she came back. So, and that can still qualify you for a Black Lantern Corp ring. It's just that never really happened to Kaiba. He had his soul stolen, not killing, soul stolen. He had, he just lost. Nothing happened in the Battle City tournament. If you want to talk about the Waking the Dragons arc, again, his soul was just stolen. He wasn't dead. And then there is the, think words here. There was the final arc where, again, he didn't die. So he can't be a Black Lantern. Unfortunately, he doesn't really qualify for a White Lantern either, apart from being alive. Yeah, he's protected people, but his goal isn't to nurture life, to protect life, all that. It's advancement, one-upping people all along those lines. So let's just break it. Let's break it down. What now? What Lantern Corps do I think it belonged to? Well, first good candidate is the Green Lantern Corps, obviously. Strong willpower and the ability to overcome great fear. That it's a given. It's the prime Lantern Corps for someone like Kaiba. I'm just gonna center that a bit more. He's had to overcome not just his fear of loss and his fear of losing Mokuba, but he's had to overcome the diversity and adversity of his situation with Gozaburo Kaiba while growing up. So he's ultimately had to overcome so much through sheer will and determination and gumption that willpower has got to be a candidate for him. Another one, though, that it's less likely, but I think we should at least put into consideration. The Blue Lantern Corps, Hope. Now, why would that qualify for that? He doesn't really instill hope in terms of saving the world, but a lot of people look to his company for advancements, for assistance. So he does hold a little bit of hope with the world on his shoulders. Add on to the fact that he never lost faith that one day he would defeat Yami. He never lost faith that one day he could defeat Yami. He just kept persevering through. Now, that probably comes more from will than it does hope, but an argument I think can still be made for hope. So I think it's still prudent that we address the Blue Lantern Corps. Going quickly to a couple more that he don't qualify for. Now the one that I don't think he qualifies for, and I know some people are probably going to contest me on this, is fear. I don't think he's a Yellow Lantern. Now the reason for that is because you need to be able to instill great fear in others. And when we actually look at Kaiba in the world, even as a corporate businessman, as a duelist, all that, people recognize and respect Kaiba. But and like his employees are probably afraid to some degree, sure. But they're not. He doesn't even scare, like, Joey's maybe a little off put by Kaiba, but he doesn't even scare Joey. And Joey's a tough guy, sure, but most people find him more a jerk than scary. And I think that's the big problem with Kaiba's character, is that he's a stereotypical jerk rival. Yes, he's a skilled and one of the most skilled duelists in the world. I like in the GX final season where the characters of the emissaries of like the emptiness or the night shroud, if you will, were basically eliminating people and sending them to a different dimension. I like that when you see the list at Kaiba Corp of all the employees disappearing, Kaiba's name doesn't disappear. Like we cut before we see it disappear. That implies that Kaiba might actually still been around. Same with Yugi, probably. Like, Yugi and Kaiba probably were still around because they are that skilled duelists. Joey probably didn't make it, though. He probably beat a couple of those guys because Joey was a good duelist. But yeah, so they were still around. I did like that little nod. But yeah, ultimately, Kaiba is a tough guy. He's very, and a lot of people respect and give him space and all that. But again, it's more that he comes off a bit as a jerk than he does a person you're supposed to be afraid of. Moving on to Atlantic Corp, I do think he qualifies for is rage. His anger at losing to Yugi, his anger at being considered the second best, and that anger and will continues to drive Kaiba throughout the entirety of the series to beat Yugi. Now he mellows out throughout season to season, sure, but he's still an angry guy on some level. Like, he hates the fact that Yami beat him. He hates the fact that Yugi beat him. And yeah, it's just one of those things that rage actually makes a lot of sense. Now, his rage is very tempered because he is a very cool, calm, collect businessman. So he had to temper that rage. But it doesn't mean that rage still isn't there. It doesn't mean that rage isn't like bubbling under the surface. That resentment towards Yugi, that resentment towards the Pharaoh, hell, the resentment towards Pegasus to some degree. So it's very possible he could be a Red Lantern as well. Last but not least is Orange, in my opinion. Now, should note that I don't think he's compassion. He still has compassion. It's just he buries it, so he can't be a Lantern Corps member of compassion. Nor love. He loves his brother, but that's not what fuels him. So Orange is the only one left. And Orange, it does make some sense. Kaiba, from what we can tell, really is never satisfied, no matter what. But it's not to the same degree as someone like a Lex Luthor who just wants more. There are end goals to his drive and his ambition. It's just that whatever he finds the next goal satisfied with that, that's next. I think it's really just to keep him busy. Because he's a guy who probably isn't content with like a retirement of staying still and stagnant and just relaxing on an island. Like Pegasus, frankly, is just very comfortable relaxing on Duelist Kingdom Island. So, and barely running his company. I mean, yeah, he runs his company, sure, but you know what I mean. We've seen, like in the movie, for example, Kaiba just sees him lounging at his pool. And that's not something Kaiba would ever do. Kaiba's a man who is at his, weird to say, happiest when he's got something to occupy himself. So while, yes, never satisfied does fit Kaiba, and therefore the greed aspect of that does fit Kaiba, and it's possible Orange. That's why I put it last, along with kind of like the Blue Lantern was second. Those two, blue and orange, two of my favorite colors, by the way, are the least likely, I think, Lantern Corps that qualify, or Kaiba's qualified to be in. But still a possibility. Ultimately, I think it does come down to will and rage. And Honestly, I'm going to go more, again, it's going to seem like a cop. I'm going to lean more towards green, only because while the rage is there, sure, he is someone who was driven by his need for revenge against Yugi and all that. It's one of those things where he really mellowed out as the series went on, and then when you do see him briefly in GX in season 2, he's still Kaiba, sure, but it's clear that when you're looking at him, it's like, he's just a very serious guy. He's a very serious businessman. That's really what you got going on there. Still, by the way, one of the most badass trench coats ever. Period. And just, like his outfit, like he's wearing a standard undergarment, sure, like that black shirt, black. But let's be honest, that white freaking duster, that trench coat. That's a sick trench coat, man. He's still one of the best designs, period. Like in terms of just looking badass, and he always wore that later on. Like that was his like go-to outfit, Waking the Dragon's arc. When he briefly did that, when they briefly showed up in, oh god, what was that? The grand tournament thing they did? That was like a really short arc that you could tell too. It was a filler arc because the animation was not the same. That was actually a pretty fun filler though. I like that because there was nothing. Because the whole point of it, there was nothing on the line. There was no like end of the world scenario. At worst, it was Kaiba's corporation was going to be taken over. That was it. So it was actually kind of a refreshing load of filler. We got to see some fun duels. It was cool. Anyway, and that was what he was wearing in the final arc. That was his outfit for the final arc, and that was his outfit when we see him briefly in GX. So yeah, it was a cool outfit. But no, I would say because he mellowed out and because he was always so tempered with his rage, although he definitely had a few moments where he's like, you dare take that blue eyes from me, Wheeler. Like, yeah, like he had some moments. I would still say that because of how he tempered himself, because of how he conducted himself, I would still go with the Green Lantern ring for Kaiba. Followed by a Red Lantern ring. And then I'd probably go actually closer to blue than orange, and then orange falls at the wayside for the 4th place. What you got? The platinum medal, gold medal, silver medal, bronze, yeah. There. Well, I mean, technically in the Olympics, it's just gold, silver, and bronze. But no, screw it. Platinum's, by all accounts, more valuable. So, yeah, platinum, silver. So, yeah, the bronze medal in this case goes to orange, while the gold medal goes to green. But that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you feel differently. If you could make an excuse for any of the other Lantern cores, if you could make a stronger excuse for any of the cores that I felt he was a lesser candidate for. Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell if you want notifications. Ideas for who would win Star Wars, Super Hero Magic, What If, anything you're doing on the channel. Put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Later.